I stood on the stage of the old Grand Monarch Theater, heart pounding in my chest. The once vibrant auditorium now lay shrouded in darkness, its faded opulence casting long, sinister shadows. The air was thick with the scent of decay and the whisper of unseen spectators. As I tried to deliver my lines, the ghostly figures of past performers surrounded me, their hollow eyes watching intently, their whispers merging into an unsettling cacophony. "Why won't you leave me alone?" I cried out, my voice trembling with fear and desperation. The lead actor, a beautiful but sorrowful actress dressed in a tattered Victorian gown, stepped forward. Her presence was chilling, her eyes pleading yet resolute. "You must finish what we started," she intoned, her voice echoing through the empty hall. "Only then will we find peace." My mind raced back to the beginning of this nightmare, to the moment I first set foot in this accursed place. It all started with an audition notice. The Grand Monarch Theater was reopening after decades of abandonment, and they were casting for a revival of an old play, The Final Curtain. As a struggling actress, this seemed like the perfect opportunity to revive my faltering career. The theater's tragic history, with its tales of mysterious disappearances and a catastrophic fire, only added to its allure. I arrived at the theater on a rainy afternoon, the sky a dark, brooding gray. The building stood imposingly against the backdrop of the city, its once grand facade now weathered and crumbling. Inside, the air was musty, the walls adorned with faded posters of past productions, hinting at the theater's former glory. The director, a stern but passionate woman named Eleanor, welcomed me warmly. She seemed oddly enthusiastic about the production, her eyes gleaming with a fervor that bordered on obsession. "The Grand Monarch has a soul of its own," she said, her voice echoing in the cavernous lobby. "This play will bring it back to life." As I began rehearsals, I quickly became immersed in the role. The script was captivating, a story of love, betrayal, and tragedy set in a grand old theater much like the Monarch itself. But it wasn't long before strange things started happening. At first, it was small, almost dismissive incidents. Props would go missing, only to reappear in odd places. Cold drafts would sweep through the rehearsal space, chilling me to the bone. The other actors whispered about the theater's ghosts, but I laughed it off, attributing it to the building's age and our collective nerves. One evening, as I practiced my lines alone on the stage, I heard a soft humming. The sound was faint, almost like a lullaby, but it grew louder, more insistent. I looked around, but there was no one there. My heart pounded as the humming turned into whispers, voices speaking words I couldn't understand. I decided to investigate the theater's history, hoping to find some logical explanation for the strange occurrences. In the dusty archives of the local library, I unearthed the tragic story of the theater's past. In 1908, during a performance of The Final Curtain, a fire broke out, trapping the cast and crew inside. Many perished, their bodies never recovered. Since then, the theater had been plagued by rumors of haunting, its doors eventually closing as fear overshadowed its former glory. As the days passed, the haunting grew more intense. I would see fleeting glimpses of figures in old-fashioned costumes, their eyes hollow and haunted. Objects moved on their own, and the whispers grew louder, more coherent. They spoke of unfinished business, of a final performance that must be completed. One night, while rehearsing a particularly emotional scene, the lead specter appeared before me. She was ethereal, her form flickering like a candle in the wind. "We are bound to this place," she whispered, her voice filled with sorrow. "Our souls cannot rest until the final curtain falls." Terrified yet determined, I delved deeper into the play, discovering that it was more than just a script, it was a retelling of the tragic events that had occurred in the theater. The lines I spoke mirrored the final moments of the actors who had perished, their emotions and despair echoing through time. I confided in Eleanor, hoping she could help make sense of the madness. To my surprise, she revealed a family secret that changed everything. Her grandmother had been a child when the fire consumed the theater. Her mother, one of the lead actresses, had perished in the flames. On her deathbed, Eleanor's grandmother had entrusted her with a mission, to write and perform The Final Curtain as a way to free the trapped souls. "My grandmother believed that the play was cursed," Eleanor explained, her eyes glistening with emotion. "She said the spirits couldn't move on until the story was told to its end. I thought it was just a tale to scare me, but now I know it's true." As opening night approached, the haunting reached a fever pitch. The ghosts became more aggressive, their desperation palpable. They would appear on stage during rehearsals, their forms solidifying with each passing day. The other actors began to quit, too terrified to continue, leaving me and Eleanor to carry on alone. On the fateful night, as I stood on the stage, I realized the gravity of what I was about to do. The spirits of the past were all around me, their eyes filled with a mixture of hope and fear. I took a deep breath and began to deliver my lines, my voice steady despite the terror coursing through my veins. The final scene approached, and the air grew thick with anticipation. The lead specter stepped forward, her presence commanding yet mournful. "Finish it," she whispered, her voice echoing in my mind. "Set us free." As I spoke the final words of the play, the temperature in the theater plummeted. A blinding light filled the stage, and the spirits began to dissipate, their forms fading into the ether. The oppressive weight that had hung over the theater lifted, replaced by a sense of peace. Eleanor and I stood alone on the stage, the silence deafening. The Grand Monarch Theater had finally found its closure, the spirits of the past set free. But the memory of that night, of the ghostly figures and their tragic tale, would haunt me forever. As we left the theater, I couldn't shake the feeling that the spirits were still watching, their eyes following me into the darkness. And sometimes, late at night, I could still hear their whispers, a chilling reminder of the haunted history that had bound us together on that cursed stage.